A very good afternoon. Welcome to Africa Today. I am Uduak Daniel. First, let's talk the headlines. And on the headlines, Nigeria's cabinet okays national language policy. Still on the headlines, Ghana minority welcomes government's decision to reintroduce road toll in 2023. Also on the headlines, DR Congo rebels praised for joining peace talks. And on sport, Senegal to face England in the round of 16. And now the news in detail. Nigeria's Federal Executive Council, that is the FEC, has approved a national language policy for use in all primary schools across the country. Minister of Education Adamu revealed this to State House correspondents while briefing them at the end of a week's meeting of the council presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. He said in a memo on national policy was approved by the council, adding that Nigeria now has a national language policy and the details will be given later by the ministry. Adamu said the government has agreed now that henceforth instruction in primary schools the first 6 years of learning will be in the mother tongue. The minister said the decision is only in principle for now because it will require a lot of work to implement, adding that 625 languages at the last count. The objective of the policy is to promote and enhance the cultivation and use of all Nigerian languages. All right, away from that story, let's have you know that similarly, the Nigerian cabinet has approved 630 million naira for the Ministry of Justice to engage the services of a consultancy firm that assists the nation in the deployment of technology to reduce risks and damages associated with the award of contracts. Attorney General and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami disclosed this to State House correspondents on Wednesday at the end of the council's meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. According to the minister, the memo presented by the Ministry of Justice will help address all deficiencies associated with contracts that expose the nation to higher risks and damages. He said the memo is intended to bring about a new development in contract administration in Nigeria by way of deployment of technology, building capacity and specialization, and ensuring that the interests of the Nigerian government in all contracts are adequately addressed to ensure that the government is not subjected to higher risks as it relates to damages and deficiency in contracts that it may sign with third parties. Malami concluded that at the end of the day, the council approved the contract for consultancy services in the sum of 630,132,715 naira, inclusive of the 7.5% VAT. That is a value-added tax with a completion period of 6 months. With just 85 days to the 2023 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, that is INEC, has reiterated its resolve to provide journalists and media organizations with accurate information to ensure free, fair, and credible elections. INEC said this at a meeting with civil society organizations in partnership with the media to provide the truth at all times to sustain democracy. Deputy Director of Voter Education, INEC, Chukwemeka Ugwaja, urged journalists to desist from spreading fake news which would disrupt the conduct of elections.
Issues critically and publish facts and figures. Don't publish misinformation. Don't publish innuendos. Publish issues.
Leader of the civil service organization, Ahmed Agberanke, urged Nigerians to vote the right leaders for the country and refuse any form of political influence and not to be biased in their choice of candidates.
About yourself, think about the country, think about your future. Because your vote is your power. If you get it wrong,
And Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, that is the MDCAN, has shown that 9 out of every 10 medical and dental consultants with less than 5 years of experience plan to leave the country for greener pastures. The MDCAN said the survey carried out in March 2022 by its Medical Education Committee also found that over 500 medical and dental consultants had left Nigeria for developed countries over the preceding 2 years. The association made this known in a statement signed by its president, Victor Makanjuola, and made available to reporters on Wednesday. The statement revealed that the group is disturbed by the impact of the ugly trend on the country's health sector growth and development, as mental and dental consultants had left the country for more developed countries over the preceding 2 years. According to the association, the country produces approximately 12,000 doctors per year to meet the required number of doctors in the country, adding that the projections indicate that the 3,000 fresh medical and dental doctors on average produced by local medical schools in Nigeria and another 1,000 produced by foreign medical schools falls far short of the number of such healthcare personnel required to meet the country's yearly medical manpower supply needs. And now let's take a break, and when we come back, it will be time for news from other parts of West Africa. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. This is Africa Today on Hills TV. Having you know that a minority in Parliament welcomed the reintroduction of road toll in 2023. The reintroduction of the levy is contained in the 2023 budget presented to Parliament last week. Government stopped the collection of road tolls in November 2021 after an announcement in the 2022 budget. But Mr. Ofori-Atta announced the return of road tolls as part of government revenues measures on selected roads in the 2023 budget. Debate in the budget statement on Wednesday, minority spokesperson on roads and transports governs Kwame Agboza, whilst welcoming the development, said the government was populist in cancelling the toll in the first place. Two more stories. 4 of the defendants arrested in connection with a 2016 Islamic extremist attack that had killed 19 people on a tourist beach in Ivory Coast appeared in court Wednesday to face murder and terrorism charges. Authorities last week had released the names of 18 defendants accused in the Grand Bassam killings, which were later claimed by Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. It was the nation's first terror attack of its kind, and it deepened fears that Islamic extremism was spreading further south from neighboring Mali and Burkina Faso in the year after the violence. Suspects also were arrested in those countries as well as Senegal. Prosecutors did not address where the other defendants were on Wednesday or whether they might appear at a later date. Prosper Kosi, a defense lawyer representing the detainees, could not provide any explanation either. Grand Bassam is reportedly linked by highway to Abidjan, Ivory Coast commercial hub, and was a popular weekend destination for beachgoers. The victims that day included 11 Ivorians, 4 French, 1 German, 1 Lebanese, 1 Macedonian, and 1 Nigerian. The trial is expected to last until the end of December. We'll now move to other parts of Africa after this break. Don't go away. Always a delight to have you back. The lead envoy of talks to end the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is the DRC, has told delegates in Nairobi that he believed the Kinshasa government was committed to finding a lasting solution. Uhuru Kenyatta, the former Kenyan president, welcomed armed groups active in eastern Congo who were joining the negotiations for the first time. Last week, regional heads of state agreed to support a ceasefire between the Congolese army and M23 rebels, but warned they would not hesitate to use military action against any group that didn't abide by the truce. And now let's take you to Somalia. The Speaker of Somalia's lower house has vowed to cancel any bill that violates Islamic values ahead of the tabling of a controversial bill on sexual offenses. The bill is sponsored by Deputy Speaker Sadia Yassin Haji Samata, who has been campaigning against gender-based violence. She claimed that there had been threats against her over the bill and said she would leave the country if it was not passed. It's still unclear if she plans to introduce a new bill or retable one rejected by the previous parliament in 2020 over clauses that were allegedly opposed to Islam. The previous bill created controversy over sections dealing with sexual offenses between married couples and the minimum age of marriage, which is 15 years in Islam but 18 years in the country's draft constitution. In Rwanda, the Rwandan president has accused the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is the DRC counterpart, of trying to find a way to have the next elections postponed by implicating Rwanda in the country's crisis. President Paul Kagame accused the Congolese leader Felix Tshisekedi of creating grounds for an emergency place. Kinshasa hasn't immediately responded to President Kagame's remarks, who, without presenting any evidence, said the Congolese president didn't win the first elections. In a lengthy, rare speech on Wednesday in Parliament, Kagame said it was a shame many parties and countries claim to want to resolve the problem that has remained for decades. He cautioned powerful countries, mentioning the US, UK, France, and the UN, against accusing or believing that Rwanda was to blame for the instabilities in eastern Congo. He accused UN forces of failing to eradicate the Rwandan rebel group, that is the FDLR, and others operating in DR Congo. Let's quickly get on to business in a short bit, and having you know that the Nigerian Senate has approved a sum of 607.952 billion naira budget for Federal Capital Territory Administration, that is the FCTA, for 2022 fiscal year. The Senate approved the FCT budget following the consideration of the report of its Committee on FCT, chaired by Senator Smart Adeyemi, addressing newsmen shortly after the passage of the appropriation bill for President Muhammadu Buhari's assent. Senator Adeyemi listed some critical areas that the new budget seeks to address in the Capital Territory. According to him, the National Assembly deliberately put the capital expenditure at 64% of the total budget to ensure that all ongoing projects are completed for the benefit of residents of the FCT. He also disclosed that a lot of money is earmarked for the education in order to provide more classrooms and other necessary education materials in the FCT schools. Adeyemi, however, explained that the delay in the passage of the 2022 budget will not affect capital implementation aspects of the budget. Still talking business, a glitcher system used by the Central Bank of the Gambia triggered deposits of various amounts in US dollars to 27,000 accounts held in commercial banks. Most of those infected were civil servants whose monthly salaries are at least 100 US dollars, that is 83 pounds. They received 20,000 US dollars, that is 16,000 pounds, in their accounts. The central bank blamed a failed data transfer system from commercial banks for the error and has since blocked the affected accounts to allow for a reversal of the deposited money. This incident happened weeks after unknown hackers claimed to have taken 2 terabytes of vital and sensitive data from the central bank. The authorities, however, say the overpayment had no link to hacking. Still to come on Africa Today is sports. Don't go away.
good afternoon and welcome to Sport News on Africa Today. I am Memo Cynthia Asoya. Now to sports. As Delta 2022 finally commences, the Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Sunday Dare, has said that about 14,000 young athletes from the 36 states of the Federation and Federal Capital Territory, that is the FCT Abuja, will be competing at the National Sports Festival, NSF, in over 30 different sports. Sunday Dare disclosed this on Monday in his office in Abuja as he expressed optimism that at the end of the competition, which includes football, basketball and wrestling among others, new set of athletes will emerge that will compete favorably with their counterparts globally. The minister commended the Delta State government for its dogged determination towards ensuring the reality of Delta 2022 and also for providing our teeming youth with opportunities to showcase their sports talent. While stressing that the Games will also help in strengthening the unity of Nigerians, Dare called on participating states to go all out for medals. He made a call to all sport-loving Nigerians to create time to grace the festival, saying that the National Sports Festival is the Nigerian Olympics. Speaking earlier, the chairman, Main Organizing Committee, MOC, and Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, Ismaila Abubakar, said that Delta 2022 provides an avenue for uniting Nigerians. And now to table tennis, where quartet Taiwo Mati, Muiz Adegoke, Mustafa, and Samuel Boboye will play no part in this month's World Youth Championship. The tournament will serve off in Tunisia for December 4 to 11. This move come after Nigeria missed out on the 2022 ITTF World Championship in Chengdu, China last September. Correspondent learned that the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation, that is the NTTF, officially wrote to the International Table Tennis Federation, that is ITTF, about its decision to withdraw the boys' team from the championship due to paucity of funds. Nigerians' withdrawal means African slots will be handed over to Egypt in Tunisia and also deny the boys the needed exposure and ranking points. NTTF President Isha Kutikon, who viewed the withdrawal, said the federation had written to the Ministry of Youth and Sport Development in October about the championship and made several visits to ministry to secure funds. Meanwhile, Marti, who should have competed in the under-19 boys singles as well as partner Egypt's Marwan Gamal in the boys under-19 doubles event, lamented the absence of Nigeria from the event. And over now to the World Cup, where the African champions Senegal are the first team on the continent to qualify for the round of 16 in the ongoing FIFA World Cup. The Lions of Teranga managed to defeat Ecuador on Tuesday evening, sealing spot in the competition. Ismail Assar broke the deadlock just before halftime by converting a penalty he had won himself. The South African equalizer at the 68th minute, but 2 minutes later, the captain Khalidou Koulibaly gave a further advantage to the Lions. With the previous victory, Senegal finished second in the group behind the Netherlands, who defeated Qatar 2-0. Next opponent will be Marcus Rashford's England once again, who domineered against the neighbours Wales. And that's your sport news on Africa Today. Back to Udwak Daniel for the rest of the news. I am Memo Cynthia Asoya.
Many thanks, Memo Cynthia Sawyer, for that one on sports. And still telling you more stories, Dr. Femi Olaleye, the managing director of a cancer care foundation, has been remanded at the Ikoyi Correctional Facility pending the fulfillment of his bail conditions. Olaleye is facing a 2-count charge of defilement and a sexual assault by penetration of his wife's 16-year-old niece. He was arraigned by the Lagos State government on Wednesday at the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Court in Ikeja area of Lagos. The doctor pleaded not guilty to the charge preferred against him. However, the court granted him a bail of 15 million naira with 2 sureties in like sum. During the trial on Wednesday, the Babatunde Ogala, counsel to the defendants, read out some portions of Olaleye's bail application, which was earlier filed by the court. The lawyer added that the behavior exhibited by Olaleye as it relates to his voluntary presence in court shows that he will comply with the conditions of the court. Countering the bail application, Babatunde Martins, a lawyer with the state government, said the offense leveled against the defendant is a serious crime in Nigeria, which attracts life imprisonment. Martins argued that Olaleye is a flight risk because he owns the Nigerian passport and probably possesses a British passport. For the bail conditions, the presiding judge said the defendant should provide 2 sureties with 15 million naira in like sum. And that's Africa Today. But before we go, a quick look at our top stories. We told you Nigeria's cabinet okays national language policy. We also told you Ghana minority welcomes government's decision to reintroduce road toll in 2023. We brought to the fore the fact that DR Congo rebels praised for joining peace talks. And on sports, Senegal to face England in the round of 16. Remember to visit us on Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube channel, all at Hills TV. I am Uduak Daniel. Thank you for watching.